I just have to say that personally, I think this was definitely one of the best moves that I could have made for myself and my family.
Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. It's Trisha from We Are Young Family, and today guys I have with me a very special guest, Canadian immigration lawyer Yanique Russell. Welcome Yanique.
Thank you for having me, Trisha. It's really a pleasure being here.
So Mrs. Russell is going to advise all that you need to know and then some about the Canadian immigration process. Are you qualified? Can you migrate to Canada? Well, we are going to find out today. As we know, Canada is always looking for persons to grace their borders. So, Miss Yanique, can you just give us a little bit about yourselves and your credentials?
Most certainly. I want to say good afternoon to all the viewers. Thank you for joining us today. It's a lovely day today in Toronto. I trust that wherever you are connected with us today from watching, it's a beautiful day for you as well, even if there's no sun outside. So I'm a lawyer. I'm qualified to practice in Ontario, Canada here. I'm a barrister, solicitor, and notary public. I was called to the bar in 2021, and since then I've been practicing immigration, estates, and business law. I have a passion for immigration law because I am an immigrant myself, and I did the actual process of submitting my application to the IRCC, which required a lot of research, and that is really what spurred the interest in immigration law. Besides being a lawyer, I'm also a mom and a wife. I'm an entrepreneur. I have a college recruitment company, and that's a bit about me.
So thank you, Yanique. Let's get straight into this. Who are some of the persons would you recommend to migrate to Canada? Would you recommend someone that just leave university or someone with more experience under their belt? Would you recommend an entrepreneur to migrate? Who is Canada looking for?
Thank you for that question, Trisha. And in responding, I want to set the stage to allow the viewers to understand why Canada is embarking or has embarked on this mandate to invite, persons who qualify to live here. And everyone in the categories you just mentioned, can come through some stream, some pathway that's available. I want to remind viewers that Canada is the second largest country in the world, right? It's over 9 million kilometers square of land mass. However, it is not fully populated. It's really underpopulated. And the population itself is an aging population. If you can remember the population pyramids that we would have studied when we were doing social studies back in the CXC curriculum, you can understand that a pyramid with a broader base is more stable, right? For Canada, the majority of the population is the retiring group there, anyone from 50 to 70, they have an aging population. And that means the economy is going to require a younger workforce. That is really the underlying reasons why the government has undertaken this initiative to invite people who are qualified, who have the requisite skills, who are able to support themselves, while undertaking their immigration application. So that's a long way to answer your question, Trisha, that really just about anyone who is qualified, who is a professional. If you're a skilled trader, you're a farmer, there are over 80 different pathways to becoming an immigrant in Canada.
So, what are some of the benefits in migrating to Canada?
Some of the immediate benefits I can think of are, the access to jobs. That's one. Becoming an immigrant means you're accessing a myriad of benefits, especially if you have a young family, right? Especially if you are someone who may have an initial credential like a bachelor's degree, you want higher education. I think Canada has some of the world's best institutions to allow someone who wants to matriculate to the next level. I think it's one of the most peaceful places I've been. If you want just a wonderful environment to raise your family or even to retire, I think these are some of the immediate benefits that come to mind. Peace of mind, living in a country that is very conscious of environmental sustainability, for example, and has initiatives to ensure that they are doing what is required to, sustain the country on a whole for future generations. Those are some of the immediate benefits. Off the bat, I can tell you, it is one country where you will see you'll see why you're working. You'll see your tax dollars being put to use. And I know for persons who may be in, developing countries, that may be one of the biggest complaints, the issue where they're not able to see and witness the use of their tax dollars. So those are the benefits I can think of.
Thank you, Yanique. I'm aware of the Express Entry program as well as the Work and Study program. Can you please elaborate on these programs as well as other programs that persons can migrate to Canada through?
Most definitely. Thank you for that question. Those are the two prominent pathways that persons take. I'll start with the study program. It's not a program per se, it's an opportunity for students to, while they're studying, work up to 20 hours part-time per week as long as they're enrolled in full-time study. And what they are able to do is to apply for a post-graduation work permit, and that post-graduation work permit allows them to work in the country and gather work hours, which after gaining 1,560 for any work year, they're then able to apply for permanent residence under one of the classes in the Express Entry, which is a Canadian Experience class. So to backtrack a bit, let me give some insight into what the Express Entry system is. It is literally a points-based system where persons are able to gather points. It's similar to what the US calls the lottery system. You're getting points based on your ability to resettle here in Canada. And they will assess your age, your education, your work experience, whether or not there is a valid job offer, your English or French proficiency, as well as how well you can adapt in the country. And in assessing adaptability, what they look at is really whether or not you have family members here, right? Whether or not you have the requisite funds to settle. So these factors are a part of a 100-point grid that they will use to assess your eligibility under the Federal Skilled Worker Program, the CEC, or the CEC is the Canadian Experience Class Program, or the Federal Skilled Trades Program. So the studying is actually allowing students who become qualified to apply under one of the arms of the express entry.
Can you please tell us what are some of the things persons would need before migrating to Canada?
Good question. First, it's very necessary to identify the pathway that you will be selecting as the means to migrate to Canada, right? I want to highlight here that there are several, over 80, as I mentioned earlier in our discussion. The main ones are express entry, family sponsorship. There may be provincial nominees. You have like startup visas. You have like the agricultural stream. So each stream is going to dictate the requirements that an individual would need in order to apply, right? The main ones are family sponsorship, express entry, and the provincial nomination. I want to highlight a few pilot programs and provincial nominee programs. Ontario has an immigrant nominee program, and so does Alberta. For Alberta, there are two streams for foreign workers who are living in Alberta or working there, or if they intend to live and work there. There's the Alberta Opportunity Stream, and that allows qualified individuals to live and work in Alberta if they do have a valid job offer from an employer there. For the Alberta Express Entry Stream, it allows persons who are qualified to create an express entry profile and apply through that stream under the Alberta Immigrant Nominee Program. Then there are three separate streams for entrepreneurs. So for the farmers who are big in, management of farms, there's a stream for you. There is one called the International Graduate Entrepreneur Stream that allows graduates of approved Alberta post-secondary institutions who intend on starting a business or purchasing an existing business in Alberta. There's a self-employed farmer stream that allows experienced farmers who intend on buying or starting a farm there to apply for permanent residence. As well as there's a foreign graduate startup visa stream. If you are a foreign graduate from outside of Canada, you can apply for permanent residence under this stream. Each of the requirements for those streams will differ depending on the one that you are pursuing, right? Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program also has different categories or streams that allow the entrepreneurs, that allow professionals who are qualified to apply for permanent residence. As a matter of fact, if you are currently qualified and have years of professional experience in in like healthcare, in technology, in finance. I think these streams are definitely worth exploring. So for your viewers who are there, there's a master's graduate stream and a PhD graduate stream that allows one to get additional points under the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program. So to backtrack a bit, I just want to outline the major things: being qualified, having years of experience, having the requisite settlement funds, and that is going to depend on the size of your family, being able to listen, speak, read, and write the English language or French. These are the major requirements for an individual who intends to explore permanent residence application. Mind you, there are going to be differences depending on the stream that you are applying for. Some may need less. For example, if you're applying under the Federal Skilled Workers class, you're going to need a bandwidth of between 7 and 9 in your IELTS exam. That's the English Proficiency exam. If you're applying under the CEC, the Canadian Experience class, 6 and up bandwidth will allow you to apply successfully. If you're applying under the Federal Skilled Trades class, if you have bandwidth 4 and up, then you're able to apply. Likewise, if you are applying as a farm worker, right? So the requirements vary.
Thank you, Yanique. Can you please tell us how expensive it is to migrate to Canada?
Very good question. Remember the proof of funds requirement that I touched on earlier, and the fact that it will vary, the amount will vary depending on your family size. The IRCC has what is called a LICO table, like a low income cutoff table. That is what is used to assess persons who are coming, let's say, under the parents and grandparents stream. Yes, there is a stream that allows for citizens and residents of Canada to literally apply, sponsor their parents and or grandparents. In the same way, there is a guideline that is set out that they stipulate as the requisite funds you need in order to settle. So let's say it's just you. You may need anywhere from 13 to 15,000 Canadian for one, a single applicant for PR. And that's the proof of funds that you need. And this is liquid funds, accessible funds, not funds tied up in a house. If you can show that you will be liquidating assets in order to support your application, that's different. And when you pursue legal advice or whatever other legal professional you choose to assist you on your permanent residence application, they will be able to guide you in that stead. If your family is a size of 3, you're looking at 21,000 Canadian. So I'm not sure of the conversion rate for CI, but in Jamaica it's roughly 20,000 Canadian for a family of 3. Family of 4, you're looking at 25,000, and this is like the minimum, right? It's not okay, this is all you need. I'm just giving you like the minimum that you would be required to show in your requisite bank accounts.
Thank you, Yanique. Can you please tell us which province is the best province to live in Canada? Because you know that as Caribbean people, we are afraid of the cold. Which province is the best for us to live in?
So that depends on who you are as an individual. Like it's really your preference. I have lots of friends who are living in the prairies, the mid provinces like Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. The winters there are harsher. However, for those who highlight the cold as, like a deterrent, I always say, just as how in the summer you would not be wearing winter clothes, right? You're dressing for the season that you are experiencing. Likewise, if you're in the winter, you know that you're going to need your winter coat. You're gonna need your shoes, your gloves. You're gonna need your beanie, your tam. So you dress appropriately. You dress according to the season that you're experiencing. But if you are someone that prefer tropics or a climate that's very similar, British Columbia has a very lovely climate. It's if you've ever been to California, it would be like an extension of that. If you're looking way east, the Atlantic provinces are good. They do have harsh winters at time, but if you are someone that love the ocean, you want to still have that feel like you're next to water. Those are some of the provinces like Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island. Those are areas. But I'm in Ontario. I love it. I love it here. I mean, the winters are not as harsh as the Midland, but we've been having very cold temperatures. And again, if you are taking public transport, there is a schedule for the bus. You don't go out like well in advance. You know that there's gonna be a bus every 10 minutes, right? And you go on in time to catch your ride. If you're driving, you have your personal, and it's very easy to have your personal transportation here in terms of financing it. If you're driving, you know that you're gonna dress appropriately, cover your neck, cover your heads, right? And just keep safe. Do what you have to do.
So your Canadian journey has been okay thus far.
My Canadian journey has been lovely thus far. I think, like for generations to come, it's it will be known that, I made that pivotal move. And well, my daughter is now 8. She would have been like the last of my generation outside of Canada. I had a baby here as well. For successive generations, they're going to be Canadians, and that is going to mean a lot for them in terms of opportunities that are available to Canadian citizens, right? I was able to fulfill my career goals here, and I'm also now able to fulfill personal goals of mine, like being able to help. I've been, making it my point of duty to speak with persons, whether within my capacity as a lawyer or outside, because I do have friends who know that I explored this avenue to becoming a PR, and they will say, you know what, I have another friend, can you speak to him or her? And I do that. Likewise, as I mentioned, I have a college recruitment company, and my immediate market is the Latin America and the Caribbean, because I'm from the Caribbean. Naturally, I'm going to select that market. And because of my journey, because of my experience, I am able to speak with people, to explain to them, to answer questions that they may need some sort of clarity on, but they want it from another individual who has been on the path that they intend on taking. It's a totally different experience to have someone who is totally oblivious of the pitfalls, the hurdles that may be on a particular journey, right? Than someone who has experienced it. It's two different type of experiences and advice that you will be getting. And I really think this was the best thing for me, for my family. I've loved it so far, and that's why I can speak so freely to individuals who ask my opinion on whether or not they should think about making the move or whether or not they should make the move. I know there are a lot of lawyers in the Cayman Islands who they're practicing there, but they want to become licensed in another jurisdiction here. A lot of them come to Ontario in order to, fulfill the lawyer licensing process and become a practicing lawyer here. And I'm able to not only tell them about my journey specifically, but to guide them because I am, as a college recruiter, I'm an agent of Osgoode Hall Law School as well. And, I just have to say that personally, I think this was definitely one of the best moves that I could have made for myself and my family.
That is really great, Yannick. For persons that migrate to Canada, how easy it is for them to get a job?
Very good question, and I get this question a lot. I landed here, and again, I'm giving my personal experience as well as, just insight from a practicing lawyer. I landed here in 2018, October, and at the time, I was 5 months pregnant. And I needed to start working right off the bat. There are opportunities. The last announcement I saw, there were over 200,000 vacancies in Ontario alone. And earlier in the conversation, I mentioned that for especially some career paths, anything in healthcare right now, there are a myriad of opportunities available. Anything in technology, in finance, there are opportunities available. For those who come to study, I usually recommend that they select a co-op program. And co-op means when you are studying, there is a work experience or an internship built into the course, right? The course itself has a mandatory work experience portion to it. Not only does it give the individual the practical experience that's required, but it also gives them a foot through the door because the employer that takes them on as interns is very, very likely to employ them as full-time staff at the end of that co-op stint. It really depends on the individuals that are coming here. If you are from the Caribbean, we are resilient people, especially, those who know that, listen, I'm doing this, and if I want good, my nose have to run, right? You come here, you're not going to be picky. You're going to take an admin, for example, admin type of job. I've seen where some of my colleagues, they're here to relicense as lawyers, but they have taken sales jobs in stores and, they've taken jobs at Tim Hortons. That's like Canada's Starbucks, right? But let me tell you this. Canadian experience is Canadian work experience. It really does not matter where you're going. No, it doesn't. No.
So, so can a person that has a Caribbean degree get a good job with their degree, or do they have to go to a Canadian school to get requalified?
So it depends on it. Yeah, it depends on the field that individual is in. If you're coming with your first class honors, LLB, you still have to relicense here, right? There are some
Mm.
professional licenses that will not allow you just to make a transition without, getting the certificate of qualification. So for those individuals, and I'm going to speak like in the legal field. Let's say you're coming with your law degree from UWI Mona, UWI Caville, whichever UWI campus, right? Or even the University of London, like I have. You are able to get a job, for example, as a legal assistant or as a law clerk, right? That you are able to get the Canadian legal experience that you need while you are continuing or embarking on the lawyer licensing process. If you do have a UA degree in finance, for example, there's no wait time. Like you do, I know, for my husband, he's a financial planner. He came with his degrees. He never had to do any additional programs, any studying here, just, the requisite licenses for the type of work that he had to do. He's in financial planning, so he had to do courses with the CSC, right? Canadian Securities courses. So it really depends on the trajectory that you're on, the type of license, if you currently have one, and the area that you're qualified in.
Thank you, Yannick. So, for a family of four, can one person apply for permanent residency, or do everybody have to apply? Can one person apply for permanent residency and bring along their dependents, or does everyone need to apply?
Very good question. So I'm going to highlight here in responding that Canada loves unifying families. They're all for families, right? In applying for permanent residence, there is usually one main applicant. You must add your common law or married spouse on your application, in addition to your dependents. And if your spouse has dependents that aren't yours necessarily, they must also be added to the application. If you don't, then it can be found that you are misrepresenting, and you do not want to be held as someone who is misrepresenting to the Canadian government. It may have you inadmissible to Canada for a period of 5 years. So you are actually encouraged to add your entire family to the application. And the definition of family is spouses and dependents.
So, in the Cayman Islands, if it is that a marriage unfortunately fails, or if some persons choose to get a divorce or separate for one reason or another, the dependent is required to leave the island. Is it the same thing in Canada?
Wow, so you're saying this is at the point of submitting an application or after?
After. The dependent was living in the island for about 8 years, and they're required to leave the island because their marriage has failed.
So is it the same thing?
No, I mean, if you have applied for PR and your entire family are now permanent residents, provided that they fulfill the requirements of maintaining that permanent resident status, which is to be in Canada, not consecutively, but cumulatively, for 3 out of 5 years, then, they're maintaining their permanent resident status. So it would not be an automatic requirement for them to leave.
Thank you, Yannick. At this moment, Yannick, I'm going to be asking you some questions from some of my subscribers. So one of my subscribers, her name is Kimmy. She would like to know if a loan would affect her chances of being successful in migrating to Canada.
No, so good question, Kimmy. Thank you for that question. When you are showing your proof of funds, right? It's usually a bank letter. The institution will outline all your assets, meaning monies that you have there, whether it's in an investment or whether it's just in a personal account or business account, whatever it is. And they will also then show any credit you have with the institution. At the end of the day, there shouldn't be a deficit, right? So if you have, for example, 2 million, right, in assets, and you have a loan for 500,000, you still have a surplus of 1.5. If you're a single applicant, that meets the requirement for proof of funds, because 1.5 million is roughly 13,000 Canadian. So the loan, to answer your question, the loan does not deter you from submitting an application for permanent residence. It just means that at the end of indicating to the Canadian government what your facilities are with the financial institution, there must be a surplus that covers your proof of funds requirement.
So thank you, Yanique. Kimmy also wants to know if she has to get some sort of invitation or sponsorship to come to Canada.
That depends again. Are you applying, Kimmy, for a visitor visa, temporary resident visa? Yes, if that is the case, it is recommended that you get an invitation. But let's say you are coming as an organic tourist, you're coming to see the Niagara Falls, you're coming to visit, some other attraction in Alberta, for example. You are able to explore the area, look at hotels that are in that area, and say to the Canadian government that you truly want to see these places, you want to explore. And this is an itinerary of where the places you plan on visiting when you land here. These are my funds, and you apply for your visiting visa. If you're applying for permanent residence, you do not have to have a sponsorship if you're applying under, for example, the express entry. But there are sponsorship pathways, like family sponsorship, where you can sponsor a spouse or a dependent that's under 21 years old.
Thank you. Another subscriber would like to know if it is that they should get married before they go to Canada, or they should remain single and wait until they go to Canada to get married. Will it affect the immigration
So
process?
are these common law spouses before? I mean, you coming to Canada shouldn't be the determining factor behind you getting married. I just want to say that. Are these people already living together, cohabiting as common law spouses?
I'm just going to take two last questions from the subscribers. Officer says that her husband has been working on the farm work program for the last 5 years. Can they apply for status based on affiliation?
So that is going to depend. That sounds like a specific question. So I'll say to that viewer, it is best to reach out to have a personal consultation done. There are going to be other surrounding factors that can dictate whether or not that individual is actually eligible to apply for permanent residence. But there are pathways for temporary residents to become permanent residents. Like there was actually one pilot that's called TR to PR. If the individual is actually inside Canada, currently legally working, they're still in status, then they are able to apply for PR, provided that they check the other boxes. But it truly depends on that particular situation.
Can you please tell us why it is important to use a lawyer when thinking about immigrating to Canada? That it's not just a waste of money and that it is important to use a lawyer?
Very important question. I'm going to give you 4 reasons why you should use a lawyer. Lawyers operate under a very highly regulated profession, right? When we take that oath to assist individuals to advance the public interest, it means that we're going to have the requisite standard of knowledge. It means that we have professionalism, integrity. We are going to be able to carry an individual's file in light of that the fact that we're regulated, we have policies that we must abide by. In addition to that, a lawyer is able to defend your rights. And there are cases that would need to, for example, appear before like the federal court. If it gets to that level in your particular matter, that only a lawyer can take on. You know, third reason, having a lawyer, even though there's no guarantee when you're submitting an application to the IRCC, there's no guarantee. You know, even the visa officer, him or herself, cannot guarantee you a successful application, right? It's really meeting the requirements under the legislation. But a lawyer can increase your chances of success because of their track record. They understand, you know, what is being assessed, what is, you know, what they're looking for, the visa officers, and they approach the matter with that lens, right? Increasing your chances of a successful application. In addition to that, they are able to highlight to you. Let's say you come and you say, okay, I want to explore this particular pathway for permanent residence. They're able to assess the entire situation and make other recommendations based on the fact that they think your application would be stronger under a particular category as opposed to the other. And in addition to that, because you can run the risk of your application being turned down if you, one, leave out very important documents, two, do not complete your forms fully, right? A lot of people think, okay, this is a very simple form, very straightforward. Let me just fill it out myself. You run the risk of not only refusals, but delays. Because make no mistakes, they will resend your application back to you. So those are some of the top reasons why I think you should hire a lawyer. Or knowledge and expertise, the fact that we increase your chances of success. We are governed, you know, it's a highly professional, experienced, highly regulated. You can go on the website and search for any lawyer by their name. You will see their the year they were called, you know, their requisite license, whether or not they're practicing, etc. And that particular body, the Law Society, is there to ensure that, you know, your rights as an individual, your rights are being put forward, your case is being you know, advanced professionally, correctly, as well as they're there to defend your rights as well.
So it has been very insightful, Yanique, having you on this platform outlining how one can migrate to Canada. But for those persons who are serious about migrating, can you tell them how they can get in contact with you?
For sure, definitely. Thank you. So my website is www.Russell, that's RUSSELL, and then a third LPC for Legal Professional Corporation.com. Visit my website, go to the section that says speak with a lawyer, book a consultation. That's how you get to me. In addition to that, if you want to study in Canada, which is one of the fastest pathways to becoming a permanent resident, you can visit our college recruitment website at collegepassrs.com. You can browse different programs there, choose an institution, you can get admissions coaching. We do your applications free of cost. Off the bat, there are some institutions that I recommend persons apply to because there's no application fee. You get the most out of the experience because the money, the 100, the 50 Canadian that you would be using to apply, you can put it towards your tuition, for example. In addition to that, they can call me at 416-800-9891. That's our office line, and we are open Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Thank you so much, Yanique, for being on the program. It has been a pleasure having you. We really do appreciate your time because we all know that time is money for a lawyer. So thank you guys also for joining in. Until next time, bye guys.
Thanks for having me. Take care.